Welcome to the second video from PenVote showing you the precinct register product, which we call PenPoll. What PenPoll does is it takes your poll book, and here I've only got a couple of pages of a poll book, but you can imagine a larger document, and we print it with the Enoto dot pattern, and I'll show it up here fairly closely. You can see it's printed over here on this slide. Anything written in here can be captured and interpreted. Here we're going to have the voters sign in, put their signatures. There is an authority to vote box here if we wish to record the authority to vote numbers, which is how they do things in Ohio. And then we also have a problem box, which is very handy because if that is checked by the workers, that will indicate that there is an issue here that needs to be inspected. But the process is very simple. It's the same poll book that you always produce, except it has the dot pattern printed. The voters come and sign in with the digital pen, and you'll see there's a little bit of a hole in there so this can be put on a chain, or the poll workers can simply watch it. So what we're going to do is every time a person signs their name, basically it's going to send through that voter ID. Now you know traditionally the process is these books have to come back, and hopefully they come back safe and sound, and then you have to wand a barcode every time there's a signature, flip to the next page and go on and do that. Furthermore, if you want a PDF file of the filled out poll book, it would require that you disassemble the books, run them through a scanner, and scan them. In our case, we're going to be able to produce for you a high resolution PDF of the entire poll book filled out, and that would be available directly after the election. Now, there are two ways that you can do this. You could, and I'm going to show a different form here, but there's a little box here called a send pidget, and that would send the data when you're done. You could put a send pidget at the end of your poll book, and at the end of the night when they mark send, provided you have an iPhone or an Android or a Galaxy Tab, any kind of device that will communicate through Bluetooth, the information can then be instantly sent from the pen to that device back to the office or to the state. All of the voter history credit is finished at that point, and you have a high resolution PDF of the form. The other way is that the poll book is finished, the pens come back in the supply bag, and at the end of the night they're simply put into a docking cradle, and then the results are obtained. And the docking cradle simply looks like this, that hooks to a device. And you could have multiple cradles and multiple devices, so if you have hundreds or thousands of pens, you could accomplish getting the information sent over fairly quickly. We're actually going to do it with the cradle, and we don't need to show it here, but we'll show this form as it's completed in the next segment. So I'm going to go ahead and just pretend to sign in for some people. So I'm going to sign John Thornton, and then I have Steve Hilsman, and then my name is here, Chris Wilson, so I can sign that. And I'm sort of skipping every other one, and then I'm going to do Elsa Schmidt. And what I'll do is put a smiley face here, and then I'll put problem for that one. And what that's going to do is alert me that for this person and this voter ID, Nicole Sanger, that there's an issue. Obviously, she didn't sign in. Somebody marked a smiley face instead, so we're going to check that problem box. So that's going to allow us to review this. Very quickly, anything we need to do to look at issues, we can correct and send the final data through. So that's it. Simply throughout the day, the digital pen is used. Fill out the entire poll book. The pen is returned to the supply bag. Back at the office, it's docked into the cradle in a couple of seconds. All the information is transferred. So what we will do next is we will show this same form here with the smiley face and the problem page, and you will see then how all the information in the voter IDs comes across. So this is the PenPoll product from PenVote. Again, it works with your existing paper poll book, and it eliminates all of the scanning and eliminates the need to take time to get your voter history credit. All of your history credit will be done on election night, including a high resolution single PDF file of every filled out page in the poll book. So that's PenPoll. And we'll show the second segment now.
Welcome back. We've sent the first page of the Pollbook over to the back-end server, and now we're going to go into the PenVote verifier. Now, normally for the Pollbook data, you probably don't have to do this, but let me just show you what you can do in terms of looking at the completed book. And again, this information would be available either immediately at the close of election or within a couple of hours. And I'm going to open up the Pollbook document that I did. And again, I just did a one-page document. And here I've got the split screen view. And if you've looked at our voting system, you notice it has the same thing with the ballot on the left that would have it filled in ink and then the results on the right. And here we have the same thing. I can see John Thornton, and he gets a check. And that basically means that voter ID there of his is going to go through and be sent in the export. Steve Hilsman as well, Chris Wilson, Elsa Schmidt. Now the last person here, Nicole, put a smiley face. Now they marked the box here as a problem. And I think looking at this, you can go through and ask the system to show you the ones that have problems. But clearly, Nicole should not get credit for voting. So I can uncheck that and finish the document. So it's very, very simple to make those corrections. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in there. There's another way, again, that you can look at the document. You can look at it in what's called a single document way. And for me to do this, I'm going to have to close the document and reopen it quickly. And here we have a screen which we will call Quick Edit. And I can enlarge the Pollbook a little bit further here. And Quick Edit is totally customizable by you. But here we just have all the information per page. So John Thornton has a check. Hilsman has a check, Wilson has a check, Schmidt, and there's Nicole again with the problem box. So this is just another way that I can go ahead and look at the information that's coming across if I want to go ahead and edit all of the Pollbook pages. Now, the underlying data is available always, and you have a high-resolution PDF. And in this case, I've had them emailed to me. So what I want to do is go over and look at my email which came through. And here you'll see there's the Pollbook test with the document ID. I'm just going to go ahead and open that up very quickly. So this is the actual PDF of the Pollbook. I'm going to zoom it up to 100%. And you'll notice if you look at it, it's nice and big, very clear, easy to read. And so you have that available, and it would, if you have obviously your Pollbooks might be 50 or 100 pages. This would be a single file. You could flip through from page 1 to page 2 to page 3, so forth. The underlying data in this particular case, you can have it sent in a variety of ways, but it's in XML. So this is probably more where your computer geek is going to want to come in here and take a look. But in the XML data, we have the name of the document. We know when the first stroke was made, so we know that it was done correctly, not before the time of the start of the election and not after the end of election, or at least, I mean, they could stay open later, but you would have the time at which the last mark was made. And you'll notice here all of these different data types. And as you can see, John Thornton was signed through, and therefore his voter ID is going to get passed on. And that's what needs to be fed to your statewide or to your local voter registration system. Stephen Parker, for example, was not signed in, so he's false. So that didn't occur. And Nicole Sanger, her voter ID was passed through because she put the smiley face. But you'll also notice right down here, Sanger problem is true. So we know that there was a particular problem relating to that person that we can see. So all the underlying data that you need to create the reports and send on to the state are available here as well. So that's a pretty quick look at the PenPoll product. And again, this will save you all the time of doing the scanning, barcode wanding. By the way, we still keep the barcodes there in case you need to use them. They are available. So if anything were to happen with our system, you could process these in the old-fashioned way that you're used to doing anyway. But in this case, all your voter history credit is done shortly after the election, can be given to the media or political parties if people want a PDF of the poll book, they're welcome to have it. They can inspect it on their own. And again, if this was a primary, for example, we would have the party selection, and that information could be passed on as well. And we can accommodate a variety of different styles and types of poll books. But if you're interested in PenPoll and how it would work for you, please again visit our website, www.penvote.com, or simply give us a call, 614-388-9119. Again, thank you so much for listening to the PenPoll product.